Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the OneTalk podcast. You're here with your host, Ryan McCarthy. On today's episode, we are joined by Matty Davies. Matty is the founder of Winners Only Strength and Aesthetics. Matty is also a mind and body transformation coach. His values that he aligns himself with is look good, feel great, and live well. He's coaching men to high performance health. Matty was also the #1 boxer in Britain, pound for pound, for 3 years straight. And within this episode, there's just so much knowledge around health, fitness, mindset, resilience, discipline, motivation. Like, Matty's been in this game for a long time. He works with clients all around the world, and he is so dedicated to his craft personally, but also to support and help other people achieve their goals. And it's just, this episode is just an absolute gem of a listen. You're going to get so much out of it. And I can't wait for you all to dive into this, understand Matty's journey, understand Matty's value that he brings to the world, and just soak in all the information and value that he shared on this episode. In other news, if you could please share this podcast around with a friend, family member, on your stories or as a post, that would mean so much in terms of helping this podcast grow, reach a bigger audience, and just to get this message out there. If you could also leave the podcast a rating as well, that would mean so much in terms of just helping this podcast grow. Just help push this and keep this momentum going. That would be much appreciated, and I appreciate all of you for tuning in. But let's get to the episode, and let's welcome Matty. Welcome, Matty. How are you, brother?
I'm very good, thanks. But nice to catch up, and I'm excited to begin the podcast with you.
It's good to have you on, mate. I was saying to you before this podcast, for anyone that doesn't know, Matty and my brother are mates growing up. I don't sound like it, but I'm from Liverpool as well. So it's really cool to have this connection going and being able to connect all these years later.
Yeah, definitely. We had some good times when growing up. Mark, your brothers, was 100% one of my best friends, and we had some real good memories. I used to love catching up with your father as well, and the rest of you know. I was gutted when you went. I can remember he was in assembly, and Mark's like, "Lad, I'm leaving." I was like, "What? Oh, it was a killer. It was a killer." But he was sorely missed. He was sorely missed. He was sorely major love.
But I know with you and the work that you do, like, it's very positive and impactful. And you've been doing the work you've been doing for a long time now. So I'd love to start this podcast with just understanding who Matty is and also why you started this journey in the first place.
Okay, so I'll go a little bit further back than we went, obviously, before the podcast. And obviously, the main incentive and motivation for me to get involved in fitness and health was when I was younger. I love my mother, of course, but my mother got sick when we were kids, and I can remember the pain of witnessing my mother so unwell. Like, we almost lost it a few times, and going through those moments and to look your mother in her eyes and to see the pain she was going through. And when you're a child, mum and dad have all the answers. This Superman, this Superman, this Wonder Woman. They know everything's going to be okay, all that sort of stuff. Whereas in this case, I can remember we were by the hospital bed and we weren't sure. And I seen it in my dad's eyes. He wasn't sure, and it was deeply, deeply traumatic. And for me, I can remember that whether my mum would get another day or what. Thank God that she did. I can remember saying to myself, my kids are never going to have to go through this. My kids are never going to have to go through this. I'm going to really, really learn what it takes to heal my mother, learn what it takes to make sure my health is at an optimal level. I'm going to ensure my whole family never go through this again. From there, went into, I can remember I was given a book by an author called Kevin Tradeo. It's called Natural Cures. Natural cures they don't want you to know about. And long story short, it goes deep into this guy was a pharmaceutical developer, or he was a director of a pharmaceutical company.
Mm.
One day he was going through a uh, basically the gist of the story is he was involved in the pharmaceutical industry, knew everything what he's about to tell now in the book, and didn't care. And then one day he's driving on a motorway down a highway in the States. And he feels his chest. And he's like, wow, that's a nice feeling. And it goes away. And a few days later, he's driving again. He feels his chest. He turns out he ended up having a heart attack on a motorway. It was that close to death.
Yeah, well,
And he was terrified from it. Basically, he was traumatized by it. From there, he's looked into different medicines that he could go through in the USA. No one had any answers for him. They were offering him unproven or unresearched treatments and looking to charge him an arm and a leg. And then he went over to Germany, I think, and he checked his heart and they recommended he went to Japan or Korea, it was, and he ended up going and he tried these natural remedies and it healed him of his heart issue. He had like, if I remember right, it was they were going to give him like a quadruple bypass or something like that. I can't remember the exact
yeah,
issue, but he basically had a severe heart attack and severe heart issues, and he started delving into the natural remedies, and basically in doing so, he turned his back on the pharmaceutical industry, sold his shares of his business, and made a life and all this crazy stuff. I know this is kind of like a little bit off topic, but within this book, he has like it's like a 150-page chapter, and it's like how to never get sick again. And
yeah,
in each chapter, there was a checklist. Within the chapter was basically a checklist of things to do. And I literally went through every single thing one by one. And I practiced it on myself. And I worked it on my mum. I practiced it on myself. I worked it on my mum. Now, by the way, guys, and obviously, as you know, I have to say this disclaimer. This is medical advice. This is something I done for myself and for my mother. So yeah, please don't try and sue me or Ryan. So yeah, we went through the process together basically, and now my mum fully healed. She's moving, living, just living full of health and vitality. She's happy, she's healthy. Same with myself. I was always in good shape as a kid because I boxed, which I had a passion for and a good skill at. Boxed for Great Britain, was number one in the country, pound for pound, for like 3 to 4 years. Won a number of titles, and yeah, so it was the combination of the two. Everyone used to call me man child when I was in school because I was always built. And so it was the two things that really give me a passion for health and fitness. And I've been able to transfer those memories, those traumas, to create winners only and help people from literally all over the world, from like Africa, America. We've got people from uh, now, I never heard of this country before, and you maybe not have yourself. Tajikistan, and
no, never heard of it.
Kyrgyzstan, uh, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, um, the United Arab Emirates,
Mm.
all over. Italy, Spain, I've said America, haven't I? Brazil, Trinidad, and like we got a real solid group of amazing people, and Australia as well. We've got some people from Australia, which is pretty cool. And yeah, it's honestly one of the best decisions I've ever made. I've been able to help so many people from uh, all different backgrounds, improve their health, and get in the best shape. And the motto of winners only is it doesn't matter what happened before, you will only succeed when you come with us. That's the standard we set, and the standard the energy you will embody, you will
Mm.
feel like a winner. You'll leave us as a winner. You know. But yeah, that's that. I think I'm kind of went over the next question. We'll go over.
No, that's good because when you said there about winners only is about doesn't matter what happened in the past, it's all about what we can do now to create a plan to succeed. And that is
Yeah.
empowering, especially with your story, because you said what that situation happened with your mother, you use that as an empowering
Mm.
tool to go and equip yourself with all the resources and knowledge to implement into yourself and also the people around you. Because as as humans, we can carry stories and baggage on us, and we don't feel like we can remove the baggage or we can't remove the stories, and we keep dragging them along, and the bag gets heavier. But once, like you said before, once you just get to a coach like yourself or get to a coach or get to someone that can be like, cool, this story's here, this baggage is here, but what can we do now to make sure we can go forward? And that's what I found empowering from that.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. There's a guy, what's his name? Stephen Covey. He wrote a book called The Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, and in this book, it talks about the problems and why people feel they have no influence over their life. And he describes it as a circle of influence. And the categories of problems are number one, a full control problem or a total control problem, a direct control problem. Sorry, these are things that you have first-hand control over. You can, for instance, um, ensure you say the right things on a podcast to inspire people. For instance, that's a direct control thing, or you make sure you've got control of whether you get to work on time or, or put the most hours in, get the best results in your training program, whatever it may be. And then the next one is called an indirect. The next problems or issues we are described as indirect control problems. So, for instance, maybe I wanted to inspire people on your podcast, but to your audience, maybe I would reach out to you and say, look, let's converse, let's see if we can provide value for your people or something along those lines. So with regards to indirect problems, they are where you would interpersonally converse with someone else to request their help because they're the ones with direct control,
Yeah.
if you're with me. Does that make sense? Yeah. And then
Yeah.
obviously the next ones, yeah, sorry, the next ones are then no control problems. And these are things such as the weather,
Mm.
such as the football team you support or the soccer team, rugby team you support just lost by a million goals or a million points or whatever it is. You can be upset by those things, but you have no say in the matter. You don't know the manager. You don't know the players. There's no indirect control. You haven't got. You're not on the pitch, so you can't be upset by it. Well, you can be, but it's a wasted form of energy. What you should really do is increase your circle of influence by focusing on number one, what you can directly control, and number two, what you can indirectly control. And going back to what we've mentioned here is that was that was in terms of me motive with regards to helping me mold and stuff, is that was my way of healing from that. You know, it was real baggage and it stuck me for years. I ended up going to therapy over it and all that, got told I had PTSD, it was crazy, it was dark. But in knowing that I can control my own habits and I can indirectly inspire my mother and lead by example and educate her on the matter, like that's what created the outcomes that we want and gave us that level of control and peace, a
Yeah.
peace that we were looking for, you know.
Peace
But
is the
yeah, I
big
mean, one
part of
knows
it.
more than me.
Yeah.
Facts,
Yeah.
100%.
Peace is a big part of it because it's like that acceptance piece of it all and
Yeah,
being comfortable with where you are in life. Because if we never accept the things that have happened to us, it's hard to change. It's hard to create new habits. It's hard to want to better ourselves. But once you find that peace and acceptance, you can start putting the building blocks on top of that. And do you think that's where your purpose ties into it? Because you would be in similar ways getting your own clients the same results that you had with your mother. maybe not to the extent, but they have a
Mm.
goal and they want to improve themselves or become a better version of themselves. Do you feel like that gives you the same feeling or similar to that?
Yeah, do you know what? There's something so beautiful about seeing someone in pain and knowing that in a few months' time they're going to be a new person and you can help them. And to see their journey and to see their satisfaction, there's a deep glow that I can't explain to you. Like it just gives you life. That's the
Mhm.
only way I can explain it. There's like an explosion in your solar plexus. I can feel it now. It's exciting me to even talk about it. And for me, life's tough. As men, I believe, at least I believe a man should be the leader, protector, and provider for his family. That's how I've been brought up by my parents. And in business, we have ups, we have downs. We never know what's going to happen next month. We try and systemize, project, and manage our finances and markets and innovate and all these things, but we never really know. Now that can feel very tough. That can feel a lot like work. And it can feel very chaotic and uh, unpeaceful, for lack of a better word. Now, me, when it comes to business and purpose, you've got to quote the old saying, find something you love to do, and you'll never work a day in your life. And I think to be able, well, I know from my own experience, to be able to have helped and changed so many different people's lives and see the smiles on their face, see the confidence in their own personality, the shoulders are a little bit more back, they're talking with a little bit more charisma and excitement, and they're speaking about different topics. The 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 best news for me you can get from a client is the look in their eyes when they've achieved what they want. They look good, they look great, but the biggest change, the biggest transformation, and I say this to all my clients, you're changing your identity. The
Yeah.
biggest change comes from within. It's who you become that is the most enjoyable piece. That's the satisfaction. And that's again one of the reasons why I mentioned like winners only. Like this is the only outcome. If you want to succeed, you're going to win. You're going to become a winner inside. We'll create the habits. We create the system that works for you. We'll implement the habits that are most convenient to get to you to where you be. And that consistency, that grit, and that passion for your vision alongside the support. Because me, sometimes you you have to want it more than your client at certain points for them. And I think the mix of passion just creates this beautiful chemistry and it's just beautiful. It really is. It's really beautiful. And for me, that feeling is what I chase for others. And there's I just see it as the best form of a charity.
Mm.
I think the sorry, let me just turn that off.
Yeah, you're right.
Sorry, it was my phone on loud or whatever. Um, I think when it comes to what were we saying again? We were talking about passion and
The passion and the results
and
from that and how much it
and
fulfills.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just there's something just so beautiful about helping people and to look back and go, you know what? I won't mention names, of course, but they were suicidal 6 months ago,
Mm.
and you've helped them. Like I've had clients who people like they've got an author writing a book about them right now as we speak. I won't out of obviously professional confidentiality. I won't be able to mention it, but they come from real rough times, and um, to help them and to see people come from literally the brink of the depths of depression and suffering to become high profile, high value people in their own careers, in their own health. They've lost like was 5 stone. The person lost 5.5 stone cellulite, And to see these faces and to go to bed and think, I changed all these different people's lives. And to hear the words they say, it's just something so beautiful about it, man. It really is. It really, really is.
I can hear it in
But
just the
yeah.
way you're describing it to me. Like it's honestly giving me goosebumps because like I've worked in the human service for about 5 years myself, and
Mm.
I relate to a lot what you just said. Like the face and the eyes can't lie.
Much of a blessing it's been to help people from
Mm.
depression and people from all over the world heal from their own traumas and become who they really want to be, physically and mentally.
Yeah, yeah. Because I was saying, like, as I've worked in like the human service or community service industry for about 5 years now, and I relate to a lot what you said about the look in people's eyes just tells so much. Like the eyes can't lie.
Mm.
And
Yeah,
especially I'll speak about in gyms specifically where I've seen people do gym transformations, even myself. Like I'll
yeah,
go to the gym, I'll begin like an exercise goal, but my whole life changes, like not just my physical body, not just my health, how I feel like internally,
mm.
but my whole mindset and mental health improves as well.
Yeah,
Like it's improved
yeah,
relationships, it's improved my job and my career, it's improved like every
yeah.
single aspect of my life. And I think that's the
Mm.
beautiful part about the journey of achieving a goal, and especially for men. That's why I think it's important for a man to have a mission in life, something to strive for, because on that journey, you learn so much about yourself, but you're so fulfilled every step of the way.
Beautiful, man. It
Yeah.
really is. It really is, and you're absolutely correct. I
Mm.
think a lot. Think. Let's go back to lockdown. A lot of us were were stuck at home. I know it was very strict in Australia,
Yeah.
and I had friends who were over there, and like at least in the UK, you as a coach at least you had nothing. There was no. You were stuck at home. You barely scraping by, and it's like, how do we survive? You know, in those modes, in those moments. Sorry, you're in survival mode, and there's no direction. It's just where's the next meal? Where's the next bit of income to find rent and things like this. Um, I think with regards to that, the lack of focus on a purpose saw a big rise in depression, anxiety, low self-worth, all these different negative uh, experiences of reality, should we call them? I wouldn't really like to call them a pathology because that, in my perspective, it locks that issue in
Yeah.
where we want to try and free ourselves from the bondage of it and the association to it. So I would say an experience as opposed to anything else. But yeah, so we don't want to be in those experiences, and I think when we can cling to what is important and find order in our direction and vision plan, I think I think that frees us up to know that today might be tough, but tomorrow's better. You
Mm.
know, sometimes the the excitement of what's to come is enough to pull you from depression, and then from there, it's obviously a case of working towards becoming more present and 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 appreciating and being grateful for what you already have. Because what a lot of us don't realize is while we're chasing the carrot, everything we're actually wanting is right in front of us. You know,
Yeah.
everything we actually need to attain the carrot or catch it is around us. We have those resources anyway, you
Yeah.
know. But I think purpose does really highlight that and push us towards those 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 qualities, I would
Mm.
say.
Yeah, I agree with you there as well, because you said too about vision plans. Is that something you actively do? It's like, do you write down your goals? Like, how does that look for yourself when you have a goal in mind that you want to achieve?
Yeah, so I've not with them now, but I had a mentor. His name is Mark Coles, a business coach for fitness professionals. A great guy overall, and basically we're in on a call and we're talking about like a vision plan, goals. And he's like, "Look, Matthew, I want you to go through this questionnaire, this uh, like a survey sort of thing, but it's a questionnaire, and it was made by his mentor, a guy called Dr. DeMartini, and long story short, you answer a number of questions. You go through the framework, and it tells you, it clarifies with a pie chart and other pieces of data, the exact things you value, your top 5 challenges, your top 5 supports, and gives you some advice on creating an action plan to create the lifestyle you want, that is conducive with your values and your long-term goals and objectives. Because ultimately, as you'll more than well know yourself, you can have a goal, but if it's not implemented, you have nothing. It's just a dream.
Yeah.
Now, the thing with goals, they have to be measurable, but in order for them to be implemented, they need to be habitual. And what this means is them goals have to be broken down into objectives, and also habits that are aligned with your values. So basically, my vision plan, I've got like a 5-year vision plan. uh, I go into the things that I truly value, and I review it each 6 months just to clarify that. I'll go into the things that I value, and it's like, okay, for instance, I value building wealth to support my family, and traveling, and health and fitness. So I might invest in training courses on nutrition, on NLP, things like this. Uh, what is it? CBT, things like this. I could invest in some education on that path. I could work on marketing my business to build a client base online, and I set these goals, and I'll break them down then into objectives. So okay, finish chapter 1 of the nutrition course. Finish chapter. Uh, Make sure you put on better content out. Hire a videographer or whatever it may be. And with these goals, then what I'll do is I'll tailor these around my routine. I'll put these into my routine, different habits I need to implement. And once the basically these habits, this routine should be based around my values, and it should lead me step by step towards achieving my objectives. And each objective leads me closer towards my long-term goal.
Yeah.
From that, obviously, this is tailored around your vision. My personal advice is, if you're going to create a vision plan, uh, tailor it around what you value, and review it every 6 months, every 3 to 6 months. That's what I would say, and just
Yeah.
check where you are.
It's important.
If anyone wants advice, I can happily send it over to you. Any details, like a template or whatever.
Yeah,
If
that'd
you
be
want.
good. That because it's so
Yeah.
important to be. Cheers for sharing that, because it's so important to have goals. Like you said, it sounds like you reverse engineer a goal to figure out the steps and action plans needed to achieve X goal. And it
Yeah.
shows how important it is to have like a target to aim for, because a lot of
Yeah.
people could be doing work, a lot of people could be going to the gym, and you ask them why they're doing it. And some people say, I don't even know why I'm doing it. I'm just showing off. I don't know why. But it's so important to understand your why behind it, because then you will start getting results. Because if you don't understand your why, or if you don't have a vision, it's hard to actually attain or achieve something. There was a study done by a bunch of neuroscientists, and they got 30 people in the room. They got 3 groups of 10 people. So the first group of 10 people, they said, so everyone had to shoot from the free throw line. The first group of 10, they said, don't practice at all. Come back in 30 days and see how much you improve. The second group of 10, they said to them, practice every single day for 30 to 60 minutes, shooting from the free throw line, and then come back in 30 days. Then the last group of 10 people, they said, visualize yourself shooting from the free throw line. Only visualize, don't do physical practice. Only visualize yourself doing this for the next 30 days and come back. So the 30 people came back at the end of the 30 days. The first group who did no physical or vision practices didn't have any improvement. The team that did the physical practice only got 27% improvement. And then the team that did vision practice only got 26% improvement. And they
No
did,
way.
yeah, and they did no
That's
physical
good.
practice whatsoever. That just shows the power of you implement the vision and goals with the physical work, as in setting up goals and habits and disciplines that you can use to be able to get to your vision. And I just wanted to share this story that was done by the neuroscientists because it just shows like how important it is to have a vision and then action the steps to get there.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, because that had just doubled up immediately, and what that does is it's the idea of focus, isn't it?
Yeah.
They say hard work beats talent. More than likely, is passionate and really doesn't take for granted the skills that they have. So they're more likely to visualize the dream. They're more likely to have that fire in the belly to really push forward. And I think in terms of personal growth, personal development, if you do work hard and you really are clear on your vision, that's going to, with that added level of direction, you it'll be what, 26 plus 27%, what is 53% better. It's a lot better than otherwise doing nothing and just sitting on a fence, you know. But at least having that vision about it is enough on its own. So what I would definitely say in regards to what you've mentioned is it pays to compound the two.
Yeah,
It pays to compound the
100%.
two, clearly.
And for yourself, Matty, because you've been in the health and
Mm.
fitness for so long, like you said, you did the boxing, you're number one for 3 years, which is a massive achievement.
Yeah.
Then also building the business
Uh,
and working with clients all around the world, which is a big achievement in itself as well, man. I just want to know, like, what has it that's kept you disciplined or motivated or whatever word you like to use over these years for so long?
Vision,
Yeah.
vision, 100% vision, passion, drive to be better. Ever since I was a kid, I can remember when I was 5 years old. Now, maybe your audience doesn't know. When I was younger, grew my family are my family on my mother's side originally from the Caribbean. So, and my father's originally from Liverpool. And we are a mixed race family. I'm mixed race, believe it or not. I'm all very, very light skinned, but being the eldest lad in a predominantly black family, like a lot of my family are a lot darker than me, we would suffer racism, and I'd be the one to deal with it. And basically, from a young age, my father was like, "Look, go to boxing." Went from 5 too young, 6 he said I was too young, 7 was too young, and then when I turned up when I was 8, that was when they said, "Listen, you can train now." And one thing my father told me on that first day is he said, "Look, I know you're going with your friends now, and you might enjoy it for a little while, but if you want to become the best, you're gonna. Can you hear that?
No, that's all right.
Can you hear the alarm?
Barely.
Barely. Okay,
Yeah.
it's cool to carry on.
Yeah, it's cool to carry on. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, cool. And he said basically make sure you stick at it. So you start something, make sure you finish it. Um, uh, so sorry, lad.
You're all good.
Oh, man. I've taken my words from my mouth. Here we go. Here we go. Sorry about that, brother.
All good.
Um, there we go. All good. All good. Yeah. So sorry about that, lad. So yeah, we went to I went to the boxing gym and my dad was like, if you're gonna start something, make sure you finish it. When your friends want to quit, they want to chill and want to have fun. If you want to become a champion, you have to make sure you turn up. You have to do it when you don't want to. You have to do it when you have to. You have to turn up. Just keep turning up. And to be honest, I just fell in love with it. I just fell in love with
Mm.
boxing. I fell in love with the sport. I enjoyed being better, but I'd always look in the gym and I'd look and I'd be like, who's the best? Because at first, when I first 2 years of me boxing, I was no good. I was no
Mm.
good. I'd get beat up in sparring. I'd come home, cut noses, shiners, and I was learning, but I wasn't as good. I wasn't nowhere near the best. I could just scrap a bit, you know. Um, and the more I learned, at the end of they seen that I wanted it. I had the vision for it. I wanted to become a champion. I'd look at the best fighters and say, I'm going to beat them. and I'd go home at night before bed, and I'd think through how am I gonna be the best? How am I gonna do better? How can I dodge that punch? How can I defend this way and block or whatever? And that passion and the inspiration I had from other mentors of who are more experienced and more successful in the gym, they really pushed me to go further. And when I would when I was training, I just done more than everyone. Like the standard was you train Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 5 till 6. Then at adults would be 6 till 7. I got put into an advanced class through genuinely just sheer hard work on a Tuesday and Thursday. So I'd train Monday to Friday, 5 to 6, no matter what. And then just because I wanted to, I'd train with the adults as well, 6 till 7, 6 to like 7:30. And I can remember they just have me doing press ups next to them, and I just do hundreds of press ups. And it's a big thick rope, like a big thick rope. And they just wanted me to they kind of wanted rid of me, so to speak, you know. Um, Whereas with this um practice, eventually it was I was old enough to box. I was 11, so it's been 3 years of literally about 15 hours, about 10 hours, 11 hours a week in the boxing each week for 3 years. Uh, Eventually became very good. So my first year, I won the title. I won national championships, and that just became the going thing. I'd work more than everyone. I had this vision. I would be the best. I would be the number one in the gym. And when I became number one, that was, if I'm honest, I took a little bit of my foot off the gas and became complacent.
Yeah.
And I can remember boxing a guy, and I was more interested in spending time with this girl who I liked. And I didn't train for the fight, and I got beat. And I really, really got beat convincingly. And it knocked me right back down to earth and made me realize, no, if you're in this, you're in this. You don't play boxing, you live boxing. And a lot of that, like, because I wasn't fit for the fight, and it was very upsetting. At the time, I was in the Echo Palace, which was the GB headquarters for the boxing team, and everything was at my feet. People had let on to me in the street, but didn't know, and I was like this champion knockout kid sort of thing. And to lose all that through my own complacency and lack of keeping my eyes on the prize, my lack of vision, was very upsetting and traumatic. And that upset and that fear of failure pushed me towards creating the best vision and the most conscientious habits and discipline for all aspects of my life. Now, obviously, we've had ups and downs with winners only in the business, and throughout it all, I know if I work hard enough and I'm clear on my vision, I'll eventually get to where I want to be. And ultimately, you're the leader. You're the leader of your tribe. If you don't have the discipline, people who you can't expect it of anybody else. So one thing I like to do, and I've always done, is lead from the front. And although that requires a lot more stress, a lot more work, I think that's the standard to really lead others. You've got to be a signpost for them. I didn't mention before, one of the main people who I was really inspired by when I was boxing was a guy called Michael Gerard, or Mick Gerard. I just knew him as Big Mick. And he was the champion in our gym at the time for the seniors. And he would look after me, put his arm around me, so to speak. And he'd come to my fights and he'd teach me different skills and things like this. And the power of having that mentorship and inspiration to look up to was what took me to those highest levels become a national champion and boxing for Britain and different things like this. Whereas to transfer that for winners only and for my own clients, I have to do that. I have to put my arm around them. I have to be there, Mick Gerard, to look after their needs, to look after their inspirations, to really harness and support their vision and lead them along and hold them accountable. And to do that, you need to work by example. You need to be organized. You need to work harder than others. And you need to work in your own physique, in your own shape, in your own health. You need to constantly learn it. So I think it's as much as, for instance, in my case, I may inspire my team and inspire my clients. A lot of the time they don't realize it, but they really do deeply inspire me to be better and to be the signpost and the best for them as well. So when you look at it like that, ups and downs happen. You can have good and bad experiences regardless. I've had businesses try and collude and steal clients and different things like this, suffered many setbacks. But as long as you stay close to your vision and you stick with it, you've got the habit of stoicism and habit of perseverance and habits of high standards, as opposed to habits of giving up and habits of failure, which if you win as only, you can't fail. You know?
Yeah.
I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. And there's a lot of key takeaways from there. Like one of them I want to touch on to start off with was the embodiment of the work that you preach is super important. And to be able to be a reflection that people can look at and be like, I
Mm.
can become that or I can achieve that. Or it's just like, it's that energy. It's just something that when you're in the right environment, it just rubs off on other people. Like when you first got in the box and your dad instilled those core values into you by saying, you're going to finish
Yeah.
this until you finish it. Don't give up. Those core values got embodied into you. And then when you went to the gyms and you saw Mick and then having that environment around you, and all throughout all these years, it's
Mm.
just constantly putting yourself in environments that are going to push you, that's going to test you, but ultimately it's all going to grow you.
You learn more from your failures than your successes. You know, when you fail, and I would say failure is a gatekeeper to success. Also, a lot of the ups and downs of business are what make it all worthwhile, and health and fitness as well, personal development. But when we do fail, you can call it a reality check, but what you can also say is this is a review of your level of performance and where you need to um, improve. You know, it highlights where you need to improve, and there's no better way to clarify that than the sharp thud of a failure to 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 give you that snap into reality that you may well have needed otherwise. You know, complacency is the biggest failure you could possibly have, and that is what will kill you, as opposed to failure, which will keep you more vigilant.
That's so true. And that I relate to that a lot. The moments where I've been complacent have been my biggest fuck ups in life. The moments where I'm
Mm,
disciplined and staying on track is where it feels like nothing can go wrong. But it's also still being aware and detached from what I'm doing to a point so I can still analyze it from a bigger picture.
100%. Think as to what you've just mentioned, it's definitely true, man.
Yeah. And for the people that are starting their like physical and health journey, like what advice do you have for those people that are
Yeah.
about to begin that journey? Because it can seem scary for a lot of people when they first start it.
Yeah, so one thing I would say is no one in the gym is judging you. No one cares. Everyone's going through their own stuff. They're there to better themselves. And if you can get out of your own way and you can face the discomfort of the unknown, not knowing what to do, maybe feeling like you're going to look a bit stupid and all this sorts of stuff, if you can face that, then no matter what, you will leave that gym feeling more empowered, feeling more confident, feeling more accomplished. And the benefits of of implementing those habits, which aren't comfortable, they're not easy, they're not fun at first until you start seeing the results. The benefits of these things are beyond what you can ever imagine. And one thing you can definitely know is that by just placing that bet on yourself and telling yourself that you do want this and there's no time for tomorrow, you're going to do it today, you will definitely be grateful for it over a matter of time. But one thing I will say is begin with what you can control, always be learning, and find yourself someone who really inspires you. Now, it doesn't mean to externalize your power or externalize your value, but see someone who's done it and been there and had those setbacks that you've going through. Maybe it's body dysmorphia and you're not really feeling good about how you look, or you lack confidence in social situations where you feel like people don't respect you because you're not in the shape you want to be. This will all come on the other side of facing that fear of the unknown, of the fear of not being good. Because look, no matter what, it was 2 years for me when I first boxed, and I got my. And we okay to swear?
Of course.
Yeah, we okay
Yeah.
to swear? Yeah, I got my ass beat for a good 2 years. I got my ass beat for a good 2 years, and I was only a kid. And if you can take punches in the face day to day with no loss of enthusiasm, then you will only ever reach the top. But in this case, it just do the reps, be consistent, be consistent. You know, I've got so many clients who've come to me who began their journey and they've been terrified of coming to the gym. They're embarrassed of looking bad. They're not sure if the gym's for them. Oh, I'll just go for a walk. I'll go on a treadmill. Stay away from that. Lean into the weights. Lean into the weights. Lean into the weights. Do your 3 meals a day. Focus on what you can control. Get your sleep right. Maybe sit down in meditation as soon as you wake up or just before bed. And implement, pick 3 things that you can really stick to and just give them a month, and before you know it, you will see the difference, and then it's just about adding on to those things. There's a guy called Andrew Frizella. He's like a business personality. He offers a lot of personal development advice on business and success, and he talks about the power list. And what a power list is you will pick 5 things that you need to do day after day without fail, and you do these things no matter what. So, for instance, in your case, it could be drink 2 liters of water. It could be spend 30 minutes in the gym. It could be make sure you have 8 hours of sleep. It could be spend 10 minutes learning about a fitness topic that you really enjoy. And the next thing could be cut out sweets, or whatever it may be. And you do that. You would do that at least 6 out of the 7 days of each week. Andrew Frizella will say you'll do it continuously forever. The key is you implement these habits. I would say start with 3, pick 3 things and stick with them and just do that alone, So for instance, if we were to pick 3 for you now, I'd say spend 30 minutes in the gym 5 times a week. So you'd spend that 30 minutes in the gym, or you go for a walk. Next one could be have no more than 3 meals a day. And then the next thing, drink 2 to 3 liters of water. And just tick those boxes off. And I guarantee after 3 weeks of that, number 1, it'll feel fun. Number 2, you'll look a lot better. Number 3, you will feel so much more confident in yourself and so much more, as we refer back to, at peace with your own self-esteem, with your own path and your own vision for a better version of you. That's not to mention that you are going to enjoy the process initially. You're not going to find it easy. There's going to be things that happen. There's going to be life that gets in the way. It might be that you've got to pick up the kids, or something happens at work, or something goes wrong financially, whatever it is. The key is understand that these situations that do arise, maybe it's just that you feel tired and or you're stressed. These situations that arise, they're going to arise. Accept them and lean into the discomfort. Persevere, be disciplined, and focus on consistency. Okay. One thing that I teach all of my clients, and this is the formula for getting results. I call it the 3 C's. First, you gain clarity. Okay. This involves your vision plan, what your goals are, your values, and your objectives. Okay. So first, we gain clarity. Okay. Next, we work out a routine that creates convenience for us. Okay. We just mentioned then the power list. Your 2 to 3 liters of water, your 3 meals a day, and your 30 minutes workout 5 times a week. Okay. So you've got that. Now, you're clear on your vision. You want to get in shape. You've got your power list, which will give you convenience. You tailor it around your routine. And then your job is to gain the consistency. And the only way or at least showcase that, the only way you do that is by turning up. You've got to turn up. Don't let life get in the way. Don't let your limitations get in the way. Oh, this is when I want to give. That's your subconscious mind telling you that you don't deserve what it is you want to achieve. It's telling you that you should stay where you are, that you should stay normal. Okay? You want better for yourself. Better is only going to come when you push for more. Okay? There's a guy called Jordan Belfort. I'm sure you've heard of the movie Wolf of Wall Street. Well, I've got his sales course. It's absolutely amazing. And one thing he talks about is the importance of stretching. Now, this isn't in a physical sense. This is in more of a spiritual or a mental sense, a work ethic sense,
Yeah.
character trait sense, you call it. Now, what I want you guys to do is, as you're watching this, just raise your arm. Okay, so if we raise our arm now, that's as high as you can go. Can you go a little bit higher? You see that little inch that you've just raised higher? You think that doing 3 workouts a week, or not training at all, or having a few pints in the weekend, letting little things go, that's your best. I've done my best. No, you can stretch. You can push through, okay? You've just showed yourself that this little inch is what it takes, okay? That is the gap between your success, okay? That's how close you are to your next level. Now, if you can do that for a period of 21 days, then you're implementing this habit, and it will become easier. You'll become more flexible with your work ethic and your work rate, and ultimately your output and consistency is what's going to get you the results you want. So, in simplification, be clear on your goals, work on creating that convenience, in clarifying what things you're going to do in terms of your actions and things that's based on your vision plan. And then from there, be consistent, stretch your limits, and give it your best shot. Give it your best shot.
That's great, because that just shows, like, there's a lot to touch on there, but one of them is, it's just to simplify it. Because I think a lot of people, even myself, when I first got into the gym, I overcomplicated what it would look like going in there. But if you literally simplify, stay consistent, build 3 things, you can slowly get into your routine and start building on them. Eventually become 4, and eventually it could become 5. And you start building those things, it's going to get you to a point that will excel you. And you'll look back, even in like 2 months' time, you'll be like, fuck, who was that person 2 months ago?
Who was he?
And those results come quicker and quicker. Like, another example I can give it from today, when I went to the gym. I finished doing my work, and then I had about 2-hour gap from work to this podcast. And I was knackered. I'm like, fuck, I'm tired. I was like, I don't want to go to the gym. I might just go home. Like, that subconscious mom was playing in, trying to tell me to stay home and relax
Mm,
and stuff.
yes.
And I was like, no, I'm going to the gym, I'm going to the sauna, and I'm going to come do this podcast. When I went to the gym and did the sauna on the drive home, I was singing driving home. But
Lovely.
going to the gym, I wasn't singing. That just shows the
Mm,
power of doing the uncomfortable things and the results that come from that.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I just want to mention one little quote as well. Fear plus action equals power. Now, a lot of the discomfort that you feel when you're 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 going through that process, your fitness journey, you need to understand that that is you being afraid of the discomfort. Now, all you have to do is face up to it. Okay, if it comes to the discomfort of how's it gonna look, how am I gonna look in the gym if I don't know what I'm doing? That little sense of fear, that is a sign for you to push. That's a sign for you to stretch. That's a sign that you're going to grow. You know, the reward doesn't come on the way there. It happens when you turn up. And as you've mentioned there, Ryan, when you leave, you always leave with a smile. There's no bad workout. You know, as long as you get yourself there and you turn up, that is all that need. That is all you need.
Yeah. That's I feel like that's the hardest
You
part is
know.
just turning up. But once you turn up, it's easy then. It's just getting yourself there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I love that quote.
Absolutely.
I think that's
And
gonna
it's
be the
cliche, but most people don't realize
exactly. Because I think that's gonna be the title of this podcast episode now is fear plus action equals power.
it. Yeah. Boom. Good. Good, good, good. I love it. Love it. It's a great quote. Great quote. By Grant Cardone.
Yeah, I've been looking at his work. I love what he does. And especially when you said Dr. D Martini before, I think a lot of people should check him out as well, especially when it comes to identifying
Yeah.
purpose and values as well, because
Yeah.
that template you mentioned before is one really good one too.
Yeah. Oh, it's brilliant. Definitely. It's absolutely brilliant. Really is.
I'd like to I've got two questions for you. I asked these to everyone. I didn't pre-send these to you, but we final two questions for
Right.
you, Matty, is the first one is if you could study with any professional in the world in any industry, who would you study with and what would you like to study?
What would I like to study? Sports professional or like business professional?
Anything. So any expert in the world in any field, who would you like to seek guidance from or learn from?
Just one person?
Yeah, or it could be like a collective.
Okay. So I've got two. Is that okay?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. So the first one is a business professional, and his name is Alex Hormozy. Now this guy, massive inspiration of mine. I don't know if you've heard of him.
Yeah.
He basically come from literally homelessness to 100 million pounds in gym business sales. He is one of the greatest businessmen of our generation. He understands the fitness industry better than probably all of the industry put together, and his knowledge is just exponential when it comes to marketing, sales, and things like this. And I think for me, if I was to learn those skills with the passion I've got for health and wellness and uplifting people's lives, I think those skills, character traits, and habits that I'd really be able to benefit from being his mentee, so to speak, would allow me to really change the world and make a lot of people a, a lot happier and a lot healthier. And that's one of the people I'd love to learn from. The other person is a guy called Swami Satyananda. Swami Satyananda. And this guy is a yogi from, or a Swamiji, they call him, from Bihar in India. Now, this guy talks about Tantra, and what a lot of people think Tantra is about, like crazy Kama Sutra sexual stuff, but what Tantra actually is it the science of energy and consciousness. And this guy is one of the ultimate teachers, and he teaches people how to essentially cultivate and optimize 100% of the brain and their organs to really utilize the maximum of human potential. And this is going beyond psychic senses to like uh, things known as siddhis, and we won't go into them. They're very deep. Some people will be like, "Well, that's a bit crazy," but siddhis and things like this, where it's basically superhuman consciousness, and like just to be able to learn about, because ultimately the main question is that we all have is, where have we come from? Why are we here? What is our purpose? You know, and I think to learn from someone with such an extensive level of knowledge, experience, and spiritual power, for me to be able to implement and share that with the world on such a scale that someone with the skills of, say, Alex Hormozy would have, that would, I really do feel like to have that would change the world. And just to finish, just to clarify, this is one of my motives with regards to the choices is, I believe that when we die, the only things we can take with us are the knowledge we share with others, the charity we give to others, or acts of service, and the the good words or prayers that people say about or for us when we die. And with that being said, to be able to change the world in such a way and to give to so many people, that for me would be really, really, I think it's the best way to die anyway. I know it sounds quite morbid, but I think in terms of leaving such a legacy behind for your children of and responsibility, to be mentioned, to be healers of the planet, I can only see a positive outcome in the next stage of life. So yeah, that's the depth of thought that's where behind that. And yeah, God willing, I'll meet them both one day, and then I'll be able to write some books to give away for charity. So yeah,
I love that,
that's
how
that,
you
man.
said the legacy as well, like build something and make an impact that lives longer than you.
Exactly, man.
Mm.
Exactly, exactly. The aim is to build winners only to the level, and well, then once I know my family are okay, and children's books and teach them about the metaphysics of the planet, their own inner spiritual power, and the economics of health, and how it benefits your life and in more aspects than one, you know.
Mm.
So God willing, it's going to happen eventually.
It will happen. That's what
That's it, man.
that's what I say, Matthew. Thank you for coming on, though. Like, it's been a pleasure having you on the podcast. You've shared a lot of knowledge, and some people might be listening right now and thinking how they can get in contact with you, maybe to work with you or to check out your content. How can people reach out to you and find you?
Okay, so you can find me on any of the social medias: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, at Winners Only Fit. So WINNERSONLYFIT. That is Winners Only Fit. We've got a website as well, winnersonlyfit.com. All you have to do if you want to ask any questions or anything like that, either give us a follow or just send us a DM. Or you could send us an email at matthew@winnersonlyfit.co.uk. It's entirely up to you which way you want to contact me. I'll be more responsive on Instagram, but it's entirely up to you. But regardless of what it is, if you have something you really want to work towards when it comes to your health and fitness, take the chance and lean into it. Okay,
Mm.
you can do it, and there's more people rooting for you and believing in you than you see, that you notice.
Nice one. I'll link all of that in the bio as well. Mainly Instagram. I'll link your Instagram in the show notes of this episode for anyone listening. So check it out. Click the link. Highly recommend it. But yeah, thanks, mate. I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you so much, brother. Really appreciate it. It's been great chatting with you. I'm honoured to be able to share my story with your audience. And yeah, I'm really grateful. Really grateful. Thank you. I wish you the utmost success with the OneTalk podcast.